Hello and welcome to our channel. Today we share the story of a man known across Nigeria as the Black Scorpion. His real name was Brigadier Benjamin Adekunle. He was a soldier, a war commander, and a man who saw the worst of battle. But years after the war, he sat down with a journalist and said something surprising. He said, "My killing days are over. I had been labeled as a legalized murderer by the society called Nigerians." This is the story of Benjamin Adekunle, a man who led troops during the Nigerian Civil War. A man who was feared, respected, and later misunderstood. A man who gave everything to his country and then asked if it was worth it. Benjamin Adekunle was born on June 26, 1936 in Kaduna, Nigeria. His father was from Ogbomoso in Oyo State and his mother was of Bakama heritage. He grew up in a diverse environment, learning discipline and leadership from a young age. He attended Government College, Okene, and after finishing secondary school, he joined the Nigerian Army in 1958. He passed the selection exams and was sent to the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst in the UK. On December 15, 1960, he was commissioned as the second lieutenant. His first major assignment was in the camp, serving with the United Nations Peacemaking Force. He returned to Nigeria with experience, confidence, and a reputation for bravery. So in 1962, Adekunle became aide-de-camp to Sir Akanu Ibiam, the governor of the Eastern region. This role gave him insight into the political and cultural landscape of Eastern Nigeria, knowledge that would later prove crucial. By the mid-1960s, Nigeria was facing internal tensions, ethnic divisions, political struggles, and military coups were tearing the country apart. In 1967, the Eastern region declared independence as Biafra, and the Nigerian Civil War began. Adekunle was just 31 years old when the war started, but he was always ready. During the war, Adekunle was given command of the 3rd Marine Commando Division. He renamed it to emphasize its riverine and amphibious operations. His troops operated in the swamps, rivers, and coastal areas of the Niger Delta. He led the Bonny Island landing in July 1967, one of the first major victories for the federal forces. He also commanded Operation Tiger Claw, which captured Calabar, a key Biafran port. Under his leadership, the division took control of strategic towns like Escravos, Burutu, Warri, Ugeli, Sapele, Patani, Bomadi, Koko, Orerope, Umutu, Etagba, Uno, and many more like that, His strategy was clear: to cut off Biafra's supply routes, isolate the region, and force surrender. He was bold, he was aggressive, he was effective, but he was also feared. The press called him the Black Scorpion. His enemies saw him as a ruthless killer. His soldiers saw him as a fearless leader. But who was Benjamin Adekunle? In August 1977, 3 years after retiring from the army, he gave an interview to journalist Muyiwa Adetiba, and in that interview he said, "Right now I will do any job that will lead to the saving of souls of fellow Nigerians. Not that I regret my period as a soldier, but there are certain times when you need to do some reassessments." He admitted that being a soldier came with a price, that people saw him as a bloodthirsty cannibal does not mean he's a bad person. That war had changed how society viewed him. It was a rare moment of honesty, a soldier reflecting on the cost of war, not just on the battlefield, but on his soul. After the war, Adekunle continued to serve. In 1972, he was promoted to brigadier and given a new task: decongesting the Lagos ports. It was a major economic challenge and he succeeded in this task. But in 1974, at just 38 years old, he was retired from the army. Although he had hoped to serve for 22 years, as at the time, but he only did 14. His retirement was sudden. Some say it was political, others say it was strategic, but for Adekunle, it was painful. He faded from public view. He lived quietly. He watched Nigeria change. Benjamin Adekunle's legacy is complex. Some call him a hero, others call him a villain. He helped keep Nigeria united, but his methods were harsh. His words were sharp. His image was fierce. He once said, "I don't want peace, I want war." That quote haunted him. It was repeated in newspapers, books, and documentaries as at the time. It pained him as a man who loved violence. But in truth, he was a soldier doing his job, a man caught in a brutal war, a leader trying to win. His interview in 1977 showed a different side. A man who had seen so much, a man who wanted healing, In his later years, Adekunle lived in Surulere, Lagos. He stayed out of politics. He rarely gave interviews. He passed away on September 13, 2014 at the age of 78. His death was quiet, but his story remains loud. Benjamin Adekunle's life teaches us many things. First, it shows the power of leadership. He had troops through swamps, rivers, and battles. He made decisions that shaped history. Second, it shows the cost of war, not just in lives lost, but in reputations damaged, in souls wounded. And third, it shows the need for reflection. Even the strongest warriors must look back and ask, was it worth it? And finally, it shows the complexity of history. Heroes are not perfect. Villains are not always evil. People are layered, Nigeria is still healing. The Civil War ended in 1970, but its scars remain. Ethnic tensions, political struggles, military memories, all of those. But stories like Adekunle's help us understand. They help us learn. They help us grow. We must study the past. We must honor the truth. We must build a better future, How do we honor Benjamin Adekunle? We tell a story. We teach our children. We remember the war, not to glorify it, but to learn from it. We remember his bravery, his leadership, his honesty. We remember his words, "My killing days are over." Let those words guide us. Let them remind us that peace is better than war, that healing is better than hurting. Let us build a Nigeria where soldiers are respected and peace is celebrated. Thank you for watching. If the story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe. Let's keep history alive. Let's honor those who served. Let's build a better Nigeria. Until next time, stay strong, stay informed, and never stop seeking the truth. See you in the next video.